What's going on, guys? It's Mike for Sim Racing 604, and to conclude things for this month where I was doing viewer requested videos, I'm going to be tackling the most common question I get asked, which is how to grow a YouTube channel, a sim racing YouTube channel that is, and become more popular and hopefully start earning some money or a little bit more money via YouTube. As I mentioned, this is the most common question I get asked via email or DMs, and there's a lot of really talented new SimTubers out there looking to grow their channel and get some advice along the way, and I totally get that. It can be a very frustrating thing to invest many hours worth of work and create a fantastic video only to get a handful of views. So I'm going to do my best to explain some things I've learned over the years from other more successful YouTubers in my own journey, and I'll also share some pointers that I try to keep in mind as a content creator myself. And hopefully these tips will help you grow your channel a bit more and reach a bigger audience. And this isn't going to be a video where I give you 3 quick tips that guarantee you 1,000 views per hour or anything crazy like that. This is just my attempt to pass along some knowledge that I think might help new or stalled YouTube channels. But before I get into the tips, there are some important caveats I should lead with. First and foremost, I am not an expert, and I really appreciate that people put that level of faith in me to ask me for tips. But be sure to source more tips from many other sources, including paid professionals. There's literally people who do nothing but help people grow their social media, specifically YouTube. So make sure you don't take me as the only source. The second thing is that timing and luck can matter as much. Actually, they matter more than any of these tips. And there's some fantastic channels that seem to do everything right, and they just remain unsuccessful for a long time. And other channels will just get a lucky break, and their channel will sort of grow faster than anyone would have expected. And the third thing is that there are notable exceptions to each of these tips. Like I talk about, letting people see your personality, but then we have Viper Concept, who's fantastically successful, and we don't know anything about him. And I talk about community interaction and learning, getting to know your subscribers. And then we have Barry Rowland from the Sim Racing Garage, who just kind of comes along, puts out awesome content, and then disappears. And so instead of thinking of these as absolute rules, these are just sort of guidelines that work for most of the people most of the time. Alright, so let's get on with the tips. And in the interest of time and knowledge retention, I've broken this video out into 2 parts, and you're listening to part 1 right now. And I'm going to cover more of the philosophy of having a sim racing channel, and in part 2 I'll get into slightly more of the technical side, not overly technical, but a little bit more technical than this video will be. So the sort of philosophy of building your channel. The first rule, you should adopt the right attitude and expectations for your channel. Recognize that this is probably not going to be a money-making venture for a very long time, if at all. And instead of thinking of it as a money-making thing, try and provide value to the sim racing community. That's the best thing you can do. Money will be a byproduct of that, but you should try to provide value to the sim racing community. And how do you provide value? Usually one of 2 things, either via entertainment or via information. And when you look at the more successful sim racing channels out there, generally their videos can be easily classified into either entertainment or informative. So keep that in mind and just try to provide value above anything else. The second tip is be yourself and don't force it, and above all, have fun. So this comes back to sort of being yourself, and people can sense when you're being honest, and people can sense when you're being dishonest. So if you think of somebody like Billy Strange. Okay, Billy Strange is one of my favorite SimTubers, and when a new mod gets released for, say, R-Factor 2, he'll go in, he'll talk about technical details of the suspension of this particular car or the handling, and he's great at it. And contrast that with somebody like a Nicky Team, whose videos are live streams where he's wearing a Viking hat and using a bullhorn to sing 80s songs, and you could never switch the two. Imagine Nicky Team, imagine him sitting down and talking slowly about the new suspension system in a new iRacing car, something like that. It wouldn't be him. And conversely, if you had Billy Strange singing 80s, well, Billy is a singer, but if you had Billy Strange, being this sort of out there loud, boisterous personality. It just wouldn't work, and they're very honest, and they're both very successful for that. And Jimmy Broadbent, who's of course the biggest in the sim racing community, look at his early videos. He was kind of shy, and a lot of times he wasn't even on camera, and just very measured with his words. And Jimmy really came into his own when he let his personality shine through. You remember the bandana days from a couple of years ago, and that was him being him. He was honest about, living in the shed, and just everything about him. He just put it out there, and people really gravitated to that. So that honesty, it goes back to that being yourself thing. And so that's the second tip. Third tip is be active in the sim racing community. So that can be broken down into sort of subcomponents. You should respond to the comments whenever possible. This is something I know I need to work on. I try to respond to comments. Unfortunately, between life and a job and everything else, it's tough to respond to all the comments, but good idea if you can try and respond to the comments on your videos. You can attend other SimTubers live streams and really come out and support them. If you get a chance, leave a positive comment on other people's videos. Leaving comments is basically the same as showing up for their live streams. It just shows support, and they're going to get to know you a little bit, and might be able to offer you some tips. And if nothing else, people will get to know you, and when you launch your channel, you're not going to be a shameless self-promoter, but if you slip it in there like, oh yeah, whatever, a gamer muscle, I did a video on force feedback settings with your wheel, you might want to check it out, blah blah blah. And it's a good way to sort of get yourself known, and at the same time be an active member of the sim racing community. The fourth tip, this is possibly the most important one, be unique or provide a specific value. So your videos should aspire to be unique and compelling. Please keep that in mind when you put a video out. Is it unique and is it compelling? Every successful video on YouTube, be it sim racing or otherwise, is somehow unique and compelling. So if you think of it like this, well, there's a litmus test that I use for compelling, and that is, do I want to watch this video? Will I watch my own video? Is it something interesting that actually makes me want to watch it through beginning to end? And so that's the compelling test. And is it unique? So unique is harder because it's like, if you're into iRacing, just getting started out, so maybe you're running the Mazda Cup cars at Lime Rock Park, whatever, it's very difficult to be unique. What can be unique though is your personality. So find some angle that makes you unique. So here's an example. So if you're running Assetto Corsa Competizione races at Spa, and that's what you're basing your channel around, it's going to be very, very difficult to be unique. Other SimTubers have gone that road for a very long time, and you're going to have a hard time standing out. But you can be unique and still keep that theme. So why not talk about which cars are fastest at Spa? Here's a video idea for you. Here's a free video idea from me to you. Do a video showing all the ACC cars, run them for say 20 laps each, and rank them by time, rank them by ease of driving, something like that. Or take a car you're not comfortable with out to Spa, and maybe the first time you run a 220 or a 222, whatever it is, and then go through the setup, step by step by step, document the whole thing, and show people how you went from a 222 to a 218 or something like that. Again, you're still doing ACC at Spa, but you're putting a unique angle on it that's compelling and somewhat unique, and bonus points if you can let your personality shine through, because that's going to make it extra unique. Fifth tip, let people see your personality. We just talked about that a little bit, but to take it a step further, the way you want people to see your personality is not to start a live stream 24/7 in your house, but you should at least let people hear your voice, and if you're comfortable enough, see your face. People are really compelled by somebody's story and somebody they can relate to, and the easiest way to get them to relate to you is to get to know you somewhat. So don't share too many personal details, but if they can at least hear your voice, maybe they can relate to the accent, or maybe they like your tone, you remind them of whatever it is. It's difficult to get to know somebody's personality if you just see them driving on track. If they hear your voice, if they see your face, they're going to get to know your personality, and that is going to bring in a lot more viewers for you. So if you think about it, like, TV presenters, or commentators as we call them in North America, there's a reason why they do those introductions on camera. They're normally just a voice, but we also get to see their face at the beginning of the presentation. It's because we can sort of get to know them a little bit before they just talk at us for 3 hours. So keep that in mind. Number 6 tip, if you're not sure, try it. So the last tip, I talked about letting people see your personality, and it's a big mental hurdle to let people hear you talk or let people see your face on video, but you gotta take that plunge. And I don't just mean that in terms of trying new things. You should try videos that fall a little bit outside of your comfort zone. There's so many times where I've created videos that I've thought long and hard about. I thought, people are gonna hate this, and this is not what I do best, and blah blah blah, and just find a million excuses not to hit that publish button. But then I hit publish, and people appreciate you taking a risk. People appreciate you stepping outside of your comfort zone, outside of the box, and providing something unique. Once again, I'm talking about creating something unique. So step outside your comfort zone slightly. Don't be afraid to do it. People are generally accepting of you. You're giving them free entertainment. So as much as possible, try not to be afraid and try and take those risks. My number 7 tip is learn to ignore the negative comments and dislikes. So naturally, as human beings, we dislike criticism, especially criticism of our work or something we create. But you have to learn to sort of roll with the punches. I don't let it get to me. I'm thankful that I'm in a place mentally where I can focus on the things that are positive in my life, and I don't have to seek out negativity and increase that negativity. And if you want some reassurance, if you're getting dislikes on your videos, if you're getting some negative comments, and by the way, some negative comments may be true. I've done this in the past where I've got something factually wrong in one of my videos, and I've often pinned the comment and thanked the person, like, yes, I was absolutely wrong about that, and I'm happy to do that. But if it's just straight up hate and negativity or bullying or harassing or something like that, then I just try and move past it. If it's too bad, I'll delete it. But all in all, I just don't let it get to me anymore. But if I was starting to say that if you want some reassurance of the fact that you're doing a good job, and some method of sort of understanding that negative comments and dislikes are just part of life, look up Spa 1966 on YouTube. There's a beautiful video with onboard footage of vintage race cars at Spa back in the 60s. The video is fantastic. It will give you tingles from your head to your toes if you're a racing fan. And there's something like 20 dislikes on this video, and it's just like, how could this video be more perfect? So who am I as SimRacing604 to say I don't deserve some dislikes? People are going to dislike whatever, so I don't let it get to me. In fact, I like to have 3 to 5% dislikes on my videos, because to me it tells me I'm saying something. If I was making videos of kittens knocking over stacks of toilet paper or something like that, then I would probably hope I don't get any dislikes. But hopefully if I'm saying something that's worth discussing, then I'm gonna have some pushback on it. So again, anything under 5% dislikes doesn't bother me in the slightest. And if you can, learn to move on from it and take away the key points, because there could be some nested truth in what they're saying if a lot of people are saying it. Number 8, be specialized but not stale. So people are going to build an association with you and your channel, which is a really good thing, but it can't be the only thing you do. So if you want a great example of this, I go back to Gamer Muscle once again. Gamer Muscle, we associate him with these long, fantastically entertaining live streams. He's a tremendous presenter. He's hilarious and can be hilarious for sometimes 6 hours at a time. It's great, but at the same time, he will put out, once a month or once a week, some tremendous tutorial on force feedback or something like that I will refer to years down the road. He's really great at that. So we have that association with what Gamer Muscle's channel is, but it's not stagnant. He will try different things. And the last tip for this video is to make sure some of your content has long-lasting appeals. So those force feedback videos that I just named, gear reviews are great for this, but if you're anchoring your channel on something that's sort of a fixed point in time, for example, F1 2018, how many people are watching F1 2018 videos? The answer could be safely rounded to 0 at this point, but instead of doing that video, if what you did was a track tutorial or something for each of the 21 circuits on the F1 calendar, that would have long-lasting appeal, because most of them are going to be returning in successive years of the F1 series. So that's a good way to do sort of a long-lasting appeal video. And the ultimate example of that is Inside Sim Racing. I still watch Inside Sim Racing videos quite often because I'm looking for gear reviews or something like that, and Inside Sim Racing did some of the best gear reviews ever, and they're pretty much timeless. So that's it for part 1, guys. I will be back shortly, hopefully in the next day or so, with part 2, which is a little bit more of the technical. I hope you found this valuable, and I hope you can get a little bit more traction with your channel. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.